It is Tuesday, 10:13, and this is your independent task. So what you're going to be doing today is you're going to want to read or listen to the text twice. Now, what you could do is listen once, and then you could read it on your own the second time. I want to warn you, there are a lot of rather tricky scientific words in here today. Sometimes I'll just read the text all the way through today. I'm going to probably do quite a bit of explaining what the words are. I think what I might do is I'll read it once just for flow and not explain anything. And then my second read, I'm going to explain some of the tricky words for you because there are quite a few. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend listening twice. That is what the directions say. So you really should listen twice. The first time, though, we're meant to just do it for flow. So we're just getting a vibe for what's going on in the story. The second time is when I will explain a little bit, since there's so much tricky words in this one. So many tricky words, I should say. And so, you're going to want to hear me read it again so that you understand some of the scientific vocabulary if you are stuck. Normally, I would just read it once for you, but today, you're lucky. So what you need to do is after you listen twice, you want to make sure that you find and write the main idea. So that's what is mostly happening in the text. What is the text mostly about? After you've done that, you need to find and write two key details, two key detail sentences. Okay? You could highlight it first and then write it. It's up to you, but two separate key detail sentences. That is 3 sentences total. Use these sentence stems to help you start. So there are sentence stems below, for those of you that are level 1. If you're not level 1, but you're confused about your sentence stems, you can always go back to any kind of helpful poster chart section that your teachers put together for you that has hopefully a sentence starter page. If not, you can ask your teacher, and I'm sure that she has one somewhere for you. So you're going to have 3 sentences. The first sentence, in this case, is a main idea sentence. You restate the question. In this case, the question is, what is the main idea? Or what is the summary of the text? And you would say the main idea is this. And then, you just give me a general statement. The second sentence is your first piece of evidence. If you tell me the main idea is about cake, your 2 pieces of evidence have to prove that it is about cake and give examples of where the text talks about cake. That is unfortunately not what we are reading about today, but that is my example for you. So then you'll need another sentence starter, like the evidence is, the text says. You'll want to give a piece of evidence in your words, not copying exactly from the story. Once you have your main idea sentence and your first piece of evidence, you're going to go into your third sentence, which is another sentence starter, like a second piece of evidence is, or the text also says. And then give your second piece of evidence that proves whatever that main idea is, right? Here's our text today. Like I said, I'm going to read it once without stopping and explaining things, and then I'll read it a second time and give you a little bit more background on the vocab. When you're done, this is where you're going to write your summary. It's a main idea plus 2 pieces of evidence. If you're in L2, you don't have these here, but you do have a summary section that you need to write in. All right, and it's the same article. They've got legs and they know how to use them. Charming. Isn't that a beautiful creature? In our homes, okay, so let's read one. In our homes, spiders aren't the only venomous critters that find good pickings among the many insects that live with us. Centipedes, Pilopoda, like to make a meal out of common household bugs too. In the wild, they like moist forest floors. In our homes, they've adapted to the dampness of our bathrooms and basements. Centipedes are not insects. They have many body segments and 15 to 150 pairs of legs to go with them. The first is a pair of claws called prehensors that have adapted for grasping prey and injecting venom. Some of these critters, such as the colorful 12-inch-long bat-eating rainforest centipede, Scolopendra gigantea, deliver painful envenomations. This is a picture of the rainforest centipede they're referring to. The small house centipede, Chilopoda coleoptrata, in your bathtub may also be able to stop, but it can't cause you much injury. And it gets rid of lots of pests, including bedbugs. Millipedes, relatives of the centipedes, have 20 to 100 body segments, most with 2 pairs of legs each. Living outdoors, they eat leaves and decaying vegetation, and most are not venomous at all. They have tough exoskeletons, and their main defense is to roll into a tight, hard ball. But some species are poisonous, such as the yellow-spotted millipede, Harpaphe hyen. I gotta try this. Harpaphe hydeniana. There we go. I got it. Harpaphe hydeniana. Like a few uncommon centipede species, they emit acid or liquid hydrogen cyanide, a toxin sometimes featured in murder mysteries to repel predators such as ants and toads. Although millipedes don't discharge enough of these poisons to hurt people, it's a good idea not to touch your eyes after handling these species. Like lemurs, primates found in Madagascar and South American capuchin monkeys are known to rub millipedes on themselves, using the poison to repel the insect pests. So here's a standard house centipede. Spiders, centipedes, and millipedes are helpful animals with every right to live. But when it comes to sharing our house and yard with these beings, most of us would probably prefer roommates that don't stab, bite, or ooze. Yep, agreed. So here's the millipede. Here's the yellow-spotted millipede. Blech. Not my favorite thing. Fascinating, though, but kind of gross. Just my personal opinion on that. So I am going to read it again. A lot of big words in here. A lot going on. And so, if I were you, you certainly can read it on your own a second time, but I would recommend maybe listening and following along and really trying to think about what you think the main idea is as I read. And what are 2 key details that really help you determine that, okay? I'm hearing them talk about quite a lot in here, so really think big picture, okay? Don't get too specific. What do they mostly want us to know here? And what are 2 pieces of evidence that prove that, okay? So here we go. We're going to read it a second time. This time I am going to stop and talk a little bit about words that I think might be difficult. In our homes, spiders aren't the only venomous critters that find good pickings among the many insects that live with us. Critters are just like little creatures. Usually they're thought of as small. Usually tends to be associated with creepy crawly things like bugs and whatnot. Okay. Centipedes, Chilopoda, that is just the scientific species name, essentially, there, okay? So these things in parentheses throughout are just the scientific name association with that particular bug, okay? So centipedes, Chilopoda, right, like to make a meal out of common household bugs too. In the wild, they like moist, that's like wet, forest floors. In our homes, they've adapted to the wetness of our bathrooms and basements. Centipedes are not insects. They have many body segments, that's little parts or pieces, as you can see in the photo. Each little one of these, where there's like a break, is a segment, okay? And 15 to 150 pairs of legs to go with them. The first pair of claws up at the front, right, are called prehensors. It's just the pair of claws that have adapted for grasping prey and injecting venom. Remember, venom is that when it gets into the body of certain animals, can be deadly, or it can cause paralysis or something like that as well, depending on what they're injecting and what animal they're injecting is what I'm trying to say, and how poisonous or not their venom is. Some of these critters, such as the colorful 12-inch long bat-eating rainforest centipede, this little guy, his scientific name is Scolopendra gigantea, deliver painful envenomations. That means injections of venom. That means like directly into the body. Okay, they grab you with their little prehensors at the front here, and then those little guys inject venom into the body. The small house centipede, Chilopoda coleoptrata, scientific name for that, in your bathtub may also be able to stab, but it cannot cause you much injury, and it gets rid of lots of pests, including bed bugs. That's nice. Bed bugs are gross. Millipedes, so that's a millipede, right? They are relatives of centipedes, and they have 20 to 100 body segments. Remember, those are parts, most with 2 pairs of legs each. So that's saying each segment typically has 2 pairs of legs. We can make a math problem out of that. Living outdoors, they eat leaves and decaying. That means like they're dying. Vegetation, that's just like plants and, like leaves that fall off the trees maybe, or grass or things of that nature. And most are not venomous at all. So many of them don't even have the capability of having any venom. They just don't have it. They don't have that feature. Though they have a tough exoskeleton, and their main defense is to roll into a tight, hard ball. Exoskeleton is that your skeleton is on the outside of your body. For example, a crab has an exoskeleton. Okay, we do not have an exoskeleton. Exoskeletons are almost like armor on the outside of your body, versus us, our skeleton is inside and protects our organs that way. So certain animals have an exoskeleton where it is on the outside of their body instead. Okay, but some species are poisonous, such as the yellow spotted millipede. That is, oh my gosh, I've tried to say this a couple times. Let's see if I can do it this time. Harpaphae hydeniana. Oh, I did it. See, even adults have to sound words out sometimes. They don't see them all the time. It's a fact. At least this adult does. Like a few uncommon centipede species, they emit, that means they like eject. I think I have a kid word for that. Like spew it out. Okay. Acid or liquid hydrogen cyanide, a toxin. So that's a chemical from the body that's sometimes featured in murder mysteries. To repel, that means get predators to go away, such as ants and toads. So they don't like bite you with it. They eject it from their body. It comes out. Like think of a spray, like when you spray that stuff in the air to make the room smell better. Room spray. It sprays out, and then when that sprays out, that acid or liquid hydrogen cyanide is in the air, and it makes the predators leave, essentially. Although millipedes don't discharge, that means eject again, enough of these poisons to hurt people, it's a good idea not to touch your eyes after handling the species. So we wouldn't get hurt by their acid or liquid hydrogen cyanide coming out, but it wouldn't kill us or anything, but it still isn't a good thing to touch your eyes. Black lemurs, primates found in Madagascar, and South American Capuchin monkeys, the just different types of monkeys basically, are known to rub millipedes on themselves using the poison to repel insect pests. So they use it kind of like the way that we might use a bug spray on ourselves if we went camping and we didn't want any mosquitoes or something. Not the same way. Isn't that smart? Spiders, centipedes, and millipedes are helpful animals with every right to live. But when it comes to sharing our house and yard with these beings, most of us would probably prefer roommates that don't stab, bite, or ooze. Okay, and then here they are. So when you see these hard words in here, remember half of it is really, half of the really hard words are really just these scientific names, okay? And don't panic about that. Just think about what is the gist of what they're trying to get across. I hear them talking about centipedes and millipedes quite a bit. Once you've figured that out, you're going to want to write your summary statement, which is these 3 sentences. Okay, thanks for listening.